Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I'm Doreen DeCibas, and I'm from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and I'm here tonight to show you a really fun fold. So let me just check on my computer to make sure I am live and everything's showing up, and I am. So this is perfect. All right, so I just want to remind you of a couple of things that's going on Stampin' Up wise. For one thing, there is the weekly promotions, so you can check that out. If you have any questions, let me know, but we have the weekly promotions going on that certain items are on sale each week, and so that makes it fun. And of course, we have the current mini catalog, the occasions, that has so many great fall and holiday sets. And lastly, we have the perfect pairs promotion, which some of our stamp sets that don't have dies during this month, you can purchase them with dies. So that's pretty cool. So let me get started tonight. So tonight I'm going to be using the Scary Cute bundle. It is just a fabulous Halloween bundle. I like that everything is a silhouette. I love that it has lots of sayings and sentiments that we can use. So that makes it a lot of fun. It also, as I said, comes with dies. So it has all these great bats, a label. It has this that I'll show you what this is here, a haunted house and a great cat. We're going to be using most of these dies tonight. And I'm going to pull this one out because I'm going to need to go over to my cutting station and use that in a couple of minutes. This is a cling mount stamp set. So that is, I love stamping with rubber, so that's great. The fold we're going to make tonight is a lot of fun. And I'll show you these afterwards. I just want to point those out. But so I took this, I'm calling it a peekaboo fold, and you'll see why in just a minute. So this card is going to open up to the top like this. You can see the peekaboo, the hole. That's why I'm calling it a peekaboo fold. And then it opens up to the left, and you get all of these great spaces for some great images. So let me show you how we're going to make that. And let me just fold it again. I'm going to do a couple of changes on what I did when I made this, so you'll see that in just a few minutes. So the first thing that you're going to need, you're going to definitely need some scraps of black to be able to cut all these great die cuts out. So I have here that I'm putting up the cat and the haunted house. I have a whole bunch of, somewhere on this, a whole bunch of bats that I'll just put right over there. And you're also going to need some scraps of white to cut this out. The thing I love about this card is that you can use so many designer series paper. And this is the designer series paper that actually goes with the Halloween sets. It is called, let me just get the name, Black and White Designs. Pretty simple. So what I did was I took all of the black and gray designs. The opposite side of all of these are black and white designs. And I didn't want such a stark difference. So I went with the gray designs, the gray and black. So I took the different patterns, and I needed 5 of them total for this card, and I cut 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So I cut one of each of these out of the 5 designs. The sixth design was more white and black, so that's why I didn't use that one. So I'm going to set these aside for a minute. And then, of course, I needed another piece of black to cut this frame out, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So to start with, I'm going to take out my paper trimmer with my scoring blade. You're going to also need a full sheet of cardstock for the background, for the base of the card, whatever one you decide to use. Since I'm kind of going with this black, gray, and white theme, I took a piece of basic white paper. And what I'm going to do is use my scoring blade. So let's get the cutting one out of there. And I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to then score it at 5 1/2. Now, if you noticed when I showed you the sample, I need to get rid of one of these quadrants. So I'm going to find the track right here on my paper cutter. So the track is right here. And I am going to line up my score line with the track. And then what I'm going to do is bring my cutting blade and I'm going to line it up with this 5 1/2 score line. And I can do that because on my cutting blade, there's a little line that's going to allow me to line it right up. So I'm going to line it up and I'm going to cut down. And then I'm going to rotate the paper, again set it up right along the track. And again, I'm going to bring this to the line. Whoops, I got to put this back in. There we go. I'm going to line it up with my score mark and then do the other cut and take this piece right out. I'm going to need this piece. I'm going to use that piece to cut some of my white pieces, my white scraps, so it will get plenty of use. So I'm going to put my scoring tool away. I'm going to take out my bone folder and I am going to fold these panels over and give them a really nice crease. Because what I'm going to want to be able to do is close this card completely. So let me just, all right, and just make sure those score lines allow me to do that. Okay, so I'm going to put on the front. I just love this Argyle print. And I really like that for the front of the card. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to have to put these layers on before I cut my little peekaboo window. And what I'm going to do is, if you noticed, I put my adhesive all the way around the outside. I'm not going to put my adhesive on the inside because I'm going to want that to come right out after I cut it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I put my innermost piece, which I don't remember which one it was, but I'm going to put the polka dots up here. So I'm going to do the same thing because I'm going to want that inner piece to come out. I am going to put my adhesive right along the edge. And then I'm going to put this right up here. And I am going to run over to my cutting station. And what I'm going to do is I'm only using this die so that I can cut out that space. So I'm going to put that right in the center. So let me go do that really quickly. Okay, I'm back. My cutting station is across my craft room. So I'm going to push out this piece that I just cut for the front of my card. And I'm going to end up with 2 pieces of designer series paper that have been cut. But I'm also going to end up with this white piece that I need for the design of my card. So now I can continue putting my designer series paper on. So I have a total of 3 more designs. So like I said before, this type of card is going to let me use a lot of designer paper. Designer series paper is also going to allow me to be able to add lots of stamped images if I want. And then I'm going to open here and I am going to put, let's see, I'll put the stripes over here. Now with this card, you could use any type of shape die to make the peekaboo window. And oops, I'm putting this on this side. And that makes it pretty nice to be able to do that. So that's why I had the other dies out. I'll show those to you in a second. You could easily use the contoured scallop dies to cut out an image. Okay, so now we have the card all put together. So I have the Argyle, we open it up to that, and we open it up to this. So as I was saying, you can use something like the scallop contour dies. And these dies are all different scalloped rectangles. And you could easily use these to create a peekaboo window. So now what I'm going to do is start to put some things together to go on the inside of the card. I want to be able to open this card. So this is going to be added so that it fits right inside of that frame. So that's what I want to do. So when I open it, this is going to be on the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is I decided I wanted a pop of color. This is going to go right over this piece like this. But I want to have a little moon shining out. And there's a great little crescent moon in this stamp set. So like I said, I wanted to use a little pop of color, and I am going to use a yellow, the Daffodil Delight, to add my moon to the background. Okay, so I'm going to want it to be popping through about here. So I'm going to want to stamp right about here. There we go. We got that nice crescent moon. And if I put this back over, we can see the crescent moon through the tree branches. Okay, so let's attach this. I'm going to take my silicone mat so I don't get any adhesive anywhere. I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to use my liquid glue, my Tomboy. And I am going to add little dots to the frame. You don't need a lot of glue to connect this. I'm not going to put any glue on the actual branches. I'm just putting it along the edge of the frame. And then I am going to add that to this. Now the good thing about using a liquid glue is you have some time to move all of this to make sure it fits just the way you want it. So there we go. I've got that on that panel pretty nicely. Just move those last couple corners and it looks great. So I want to attach this right in here. So to do that, put my glue away. Thanks for joining me tonight or on the replay. If you join me on the replay, I know I have some people who always check out my videos at once I've posted them. Definitely give me a shout out and tell me where you're watching from. If you want to help me with my small business, please share the video. Make it kind of fun to do that. All right, so I'm going to close this card because I want it to fit right inside this frame. And so I'm just going to attach it now. And so when I open up the card, this is right where it needs to be. Now I can do a little bit of decorating. So I'm going to take my haunted house and attach it right at the bottom. So it kind of overlaps onto the frame. I can always open this up and make sure I have it where I want it to be so it's not hitting anything it shouldn't hit. So that looks pretty good. So I am going to take back my silicone mat and use my liquid glue again. And again, just put some dots in some of the key places so it will be held in place. And just hold it in place for a minute. There we go. Okay, so that looks great. One thing that I can do just to add a little bit is that I can certainly add some of the bats right over the paper. So I'm going to go back to, these are so little that it's easier to add them with the liquid glue. Again, a little goes a long way. So there's the first bat, and I'm going to take a smaller bat to have on the other side. And I'll hold this up closer to the camera so you can see where I'm putting these, putting them on the black and gray paper. They show up clearly on my end, but I know being so far away from the camera, they might not. And then I'm going to go with the tiniest of tiny. There we go. And I'll bring it up a little bit closer so that hopefully you can see there's that one bat at the top. I always go the wrong direction. There we go. And then if I turn it so you can see the bats on the side and the two sides. Okay, so that piece is done. So this is what it, again, looks like from the front. And I think I'm going to do the same thing here, add a couple bats. Though I'm going to wait to do that when I get to the decorating the outside. So now for these two panels, I took that same die just to have the, continued theme of the card, and they're going to go in these places. So if I close this, this way, I want to have this right, to fit in that same spot. So I'm going to actually put that in place. Nope, I'm going to stamp first. So the first thing that I want to, if you'll notice, I had a greeting on the front of the card, and then I had the inside piece. I had another greeting, and then I just stamped some images. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to add my cat to the bottom here, so my scary little cat. Just adding some more little bits of glue to hold it in place. I'm going to put that towards the bottom. And I'm going to add some bats to this, trying to use, the different dies, and I'll be using the different stamps as well. I'm going to take my first greeting that says, say boo and scary on, and I'm going to stamp that in Memento Black. I'm going to stamp that right in between the bat and the cat. And I'm going to add one of the smaller little bats to this little tag. There we go. And I'm going to add some adhesive. And then I'm just, because I want it in the same place, it gives you another little element of surprise. So that piece is there, and then I'll be able to balance this out by putting that as a matching piece. On this one, I'm going to actually take my 3 little trick-or-treaters, and I'm going to stamp that in the middle of this. There we go. And then I'm going to take my boo stamp. So remember I said say boo and carry on. So I am just going to stamp some boos on this. And this then is going to go on the inside. Now, I'll show you one other thing I could have done. I've done this card so it is a vertical fold card. I could have planned this to be this way and then just put all of my frames the same way. So there's lots of ways you could put this together. Okay, so let's do some of the final decorations. I have my label here, and so I'm going to be using Memento Black again, and this is going to use the stamp that says Halloween Happiness. And I punch this using our oval punch. It's the double oval punch. So I punched the scallop edge in black and the white piece in basic white using that scrap piece that I had. And so I'm going to add this. And then I'm going to be putting this on the front of the card. And I'm going to put this so it comes down in the right corner. And now I can do some decorating. I have this great gingham ribbon that is black and white, perfect for this card. So I'm just going to add a bow. You've got to think about where you want to put the bow on this, because with it being that peekaboo style card, you don't want you don't want the bow to get caught in the opening. So you probably saw how I had to fold up the bow to be able to open it afterwards. So if I put it, right here, it's really going to cause a problem. So I'm going to put it a little bit up on the house so it will be easier to manage when I need to open and close the card. So it's just going to go up a little higher. That way it's not going to be as hard. It's only the little flaps that are getting in the way, the little flaps of the ribbon. Okay, and now we have some room to add some of these bats. Let me get my piece of silicone. Almost done here. This card took a little bit longer because it had some, there's more parts to it. So I wouldn't recommend, sitting down and trying to make, tons and tons of these, but they are fun. When I think about a Halloween card, you're not going to be sending out Halloween cards the way you do with Christmas cards. So it makes it where you can have just a little more fun with it. This would definitely be something I'd send to my great nieces and nephews so they can have a fun Halloween card from me. I might make them for my advisory too. Love giving cards to my advisory at school. Okay, and we just have one part left. So I want to add a little bit of bling, and I first put silver ones on my first card, but then I was thinking I would really like to try and use the in colors and use this, great parakeet color. So I'm going to take some of these small ones and I am just going to kind of put them around the front of the card just for another pop of color. And there we have it, our Halloween card that I'm calling a peekaboo card. When you open up, you get the different panels that you can use throughout the card. So thank you so much for joining me tonight or on the replay. Make sure you leave me a comment. Please share the video. I appreciate it when you do. And come join me again next Friday for some more fun folds. So have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.